Hi guys, I hope you all are safe and fine over there. I also hope that you have watched my first video which was on CAT preparation strategy, and I have come up with my second video which is on exam strategy or the mock strategy that I used to apply. Firstly, I will like to inform you that what is my preference order of the mocks that I took. So first I prefer CL Career Launcher Test Series. Second, on my preference list is IMS SimCAT, and third is Times MCAT. So why I have arranged this in this order is because that I felt in Career Launcher Test Series all the tests that I gave, all the mocks that I gave were completely to the syllabus of CAT. It was not too difficult, it was not too easy, and it followed almost the pattern that CAT follows on the difficulty side. So the LRDI section used to be a little bit difficult than expected in CAT, but that's okay. If you are prepared for a difficult thing, then the easier thing gets a little more easier. So I find Career Launcher Test Series to be at par CAT and most relatable to the CAT. This is completely my point of view. Secondly, IMS SimCAT. So actually there was a good competition between Career Launcher Test Series and IMS SimCAT, but later I come up with the Career Launcher to be in my first preference, and second SimCAT, because in SimCAT previous year, just looking at previous year's mock, the VRC section used to come very absurd. I mean, there used to be lot of wrong answers given, and there used to be many controversial options that that I found in previous year's mock series of, SimCAT series of IMS. So that is the reason why I have put it in second, but it is also a good choice for mock. Now coming to the third, that is Times MCAT. So I took Times MCAT very later in my preparation stage. So I didn't give a lot of tests on MCAT, but as much I remember, I gave 10 mocks of MCAT. So, and the difficulty level were a little notch higher, especially the quant section, which I didn't find it to be anyway related to CAT, because there used to be questions which are generally not asked in CAT. So that was the reason why I have put MCAT test series in my third preference. So when did I started giving mock? I started giving mock 6 months before. That was in the month of May. From 5th May, I started giving my first mock. In my first mock, I actually scored a little bit good, so it boosted my confidence, and I felt that I can actually clear the CAT with good numbers, with good percentile. So I have also added my repository, my complete repository of my mock marks in this video, so stay tuned with me. Apart from that, I am trying to add the Excel sheet, if it is possible, in my description box, so please look into that also to find my actual mock scores and percentiles that I used to score. And one caution that I want to give: don't get afraid by seeing the number of mocks that I have given. This is all because that in between, just a month or two ago, earlier than our D-Day, they changed the complete pattern of CAT. The 3-hour CAT was got into 2 hours CAT. So I got really anxious about that. I was really tensed that what I am going to do. I have set all the strategy for a 3-hour test situation, and the test series and the coaching institutes were also not aware of what the pattern is going to be. Actually, nobody was aware of that, so it was completely hit and trial method that the coaching institutes followed. So it became very important for me to acquaint myself with any situation that arises in the D-Day. because I was not sure that how many questions are going to come, or or what is the total score, or what how many sets or how many RC passages will be coming. So I made sure from that day that my first strategy will be giving as many mocks as possible, because it will make me acquainted to every kind of scenario that can happen in the D day, and it will make me prepared for that. So that was my strategy. So I started giving mock voraciously. I mean, initially I was giving mock on a slow pace, but after the announcement of the change of pattern, I started giving mock in every 2 days, so that so that I get acquainted with any kind of circumstance. So that was all because of the prevailing situation. So don't get sad or upset or afraid or frightened of the number of mocks that I have gave. So that was all because of the sudden change of the pattern. So that was my strategy that I took. In later I will be discussing my particular section wise strategy, so please be with me. So VRC section. In VRC section, just remember one thing: the thing that worked for me may work for you or may not work for you. So it is completely a personalized choice that you have to make. So you have to give as many mocks as possible to arrive at the decision what is actually working for you, and that is completely personalized. So I can give you all the ways in which you can approach a section, but you have to figure it out yourself that which approach is going to work best for you. So this is my point of view completely. So in VRC section, initially I did every kind of hit and trial that was possible. Initially I used to do the RC section first. As fast as possible I used to do RC section. So I used to rush through the RCs, so it deteriorated my marks, that I later understood. And then I gave quite a few time to VA section, so that I can get some marks from the VA section. But as you know, the VA section does not have the negative marking, but the chances of getting correct answers in VA section are also less than what it is in the RC section. So that was a big mistake that I think that I committed. So I rectified it. I hit and trialed. I trialed with a different strategy next in next few mocks. So I started with the VA section. Especially I started with the para jumble, which I was sure that I may or may not get the answers. I mean, may not get the answers. The probability is more than the may get the answers correct. So I used to start with that mentality, and I used to rush through the VA section as much as possible, but with as much as comfortable time I can give to the VA section. And then I used to enter the RC section with as much time as in hand, so that I can approach all the RCs and I need not have to rush through the RCs. Then I found that the RCs are actually my scoring area in VRC section. So you have to point it out, what is your scoring area, whether it is VA. In VA also, which one is your scoring area? Like in VA, my scoring area was para summary. I was quite pretty comfortable with para summary, whereas odd one out used to be like, I never used to get any odd one out correct. In para jumble, a few times I used to get few para jumbles correct, but para summary was my area. So I made sure that I give enough time to the para summary, and I used to reduce time to the parts that I knew that I may not get the answers correct, like odd one out and the para jumble thing. And I used to give quite a good amount of time to the RC. I didn't used to rush through it. I used to make mental note. Initially I started making notes of the RC passages, physical notes that I used to write, and I used to denote with caricatures as much as possible. I mean, in short form I used to make it. Like if a sentence is given, I used to make a drawing of that sentence so that it remains in my head as well, and while approaching the answers I need not have to come back to the complete paragraph. And if I see my summary that I came out writing, that helped me. So I used to do that kind of note. So that helped me a lot, and I found that the RC section is my scoring area, so I gave quite a good amount of time to RC section. So initially when the paper was of 60 minutes, I used to give 15 minutes to the VA section and 45 minutes to the RC section, which comprised as much as I can remember four RC passages, I guess. Yeah. So that was my strategy. So I used to give in and around 8 to 10 minutes to each RC passage, and I used to do comfortably, and I never used to think that whether will I miss another RC set or not, because whichever RC passage I took, I used to solve it comfortably and ensure that I don't rush through it, because I know that this is the section I have to score. So just remember that in RC passages, especially in RC, if there are 5 RC, let there be 6 RCs, let there be any number of RCs, you know how many number of RC you can attempt in the exam scenario. Don't try to rush through the things. If you know that RC section is your strength, then be comfortable with that section. Don't rush, then you will be losing your scoring points itself. So make sure that you solve, if you know that you can solve 3 RC set in the given time, so you just target those 3 RC set. Don't rush for all the 5 RC sets. So this is my point of advice to you. Don't rush through the things, especially the things that you know you are comfortable at. And if you know that this section or this type of things actually does not help me, then you can quite a bit do it later on, or initially you can give a minute time to that and then go away with the other section. So that is my point of advice for VRC section. So coming to the LRDI section. So LRDI section can be approached in 2 possible ways that I have seen. Broadly, people approach it in two ways. One is they spend around almost 8 to 10 minutes judging which set is good or easy set, which are moderate set, and which are difficult set, and they go on with the sets in that particular manner. And second approach that I followed and I recommend to you is that pick up any set, try it for 5 minutes. If you think that you are landing or you are arriving in some direction you are getting, then go on with that for 10 minutes. If then also you see that you are directionless, you are not coming up with any answers, leave that set. And if you see in the first 5 minutes giving to that set, if you find that you are not arriving at any solution, then leave that set at that moment and don't look back to that set. So this second approach is my approach that I followed for the LRDI section. In the first approach that people used to follow is that they categorize all the LRDI, all the sets according to difficulty level, that is moderate, easy or difficult it is. But where the problem I faced in this kind of approach is that I felt that just by looking at the set for 1 or 2 minutes, it is not possible to arrive at the conclusion that whether the set is solvable or not, whether the set is easy, difficult or moderate. I mean, just reading the set already takes away 1 to 2 minutes of your exam time. So why allow the 2 to 3 minutes of your reading time of the set go in vain? That is my point of view. if you are reading the set, then try to solve it now. So that even if you give five more minutes to the set, and if you arrive at the solution, then that is good for you. You are solving that set within with a single reading of that set. I mean, you are saving that 3 minutes from each set of the reading time. So that is my point of view completely. I used to approach in this particular manner, that I used to pick a set and I used to solve. I usually used to go from first set to the last set. So in exam scenario also, there were total five sets. No, I guess there were total 4 sets, 2 of 6 questions and 2 of 4 questions. So there also I started with the first set, and I found that to be a Venn diagram set, which I found to be quite easy. I went with that set, I completed the set and I moved forward. Then I took the second set, which was pretty difficult. I gave 5 to 6 minutes to that set. Then I found that I am not arriving at any solution, any conclusion. So I made it clear that I don't look back to the set again. So then I moved forward to the third set, and I found that to be equally difficult. But there I found that there is a possibility that I will come into some solution, but I have already invested 10 minutes of my time into it, and I see that the solution, arriving at the solution, will take more 5 to 6 minutes. So I left that set in that condition, so that I can arrive back to that set if there is any need as such. Then I moved to the fourth set. So that was a blood sample set, and it was pretty easy. So I solved that set, and I was able to get 3 questions out of those 4 questions that were in that set. So, and then I found another set. So that was very tough for me, and I thought that I will not arrive at any conclusion over there. I tried for 5 minutes and then I left that set. And at end of the LRDI section, I was left with 6 to 7 minutes in my hand. So I thought that let give a try to that set that I have left in between, and I knew that I will be able to come to some solution. So I went back to that set, and luckily I got all the 6 questions from that set correct in the last 6 minutes, and I was able to mark all the 6 questions, and that was a game changer for my LRDI section. And I was able to score pretty good in this LRDI section. So this approach worked for me every time. Whenever I have seen that, whenever I have tried giving 10 minutes of my time to reading all the sets, I found that it goes in vain, because I am not able to differentiate which one is easy set, which one is difficult set. So I found that to be a very difficult approach for me, but it may work for you. As I have said, that it's completely a personalized choice. How do you approach? The thing that works for me may or may not work for you, so it's completely up to you. So that's about my LRDI section. So coming to the third section, that is quantitative aptitude section. In this section, my approach was pretty simple. I made sure that I solve as many questions as possible in single cycle. Like I used to approach this section with a cycle approach. Like in first cycle, I used to solve as many questions as possible. If time permits, then I used to go to the second circle, where I used to solve the questions that I have marked for review. So while in the first circle, what I used to do is that I used to solve the question. I used to give 2 to 3 minutes to each question. If I see that I arrive at a solution, then I used to mark that answer. And if I find that usually I was good at guessing that I will not be able to solve this question in 1 minute time only. So I used to leave that question in that 1 minute after giving a try of 1 minute to that question, and then I used to go to the next question. Then again I used to repeat the same thing. If I am able to arrive at some solution within 2 to 3 minutes, I used to mark the answer. And there used to be few questions as such where you don't arrive at a solution, but you know that you can solve that question, or somehow somewhere in history you have actually solved those questions. So in that sense, I used to mark those questions for review, and then I used to come back to this question in the second circle. So in this section, the thing that worked best for me was that mark for review option. I used to use that this thing in this section very much, because I knew that I will be. Usually I used to be left with 5 to 6 minute time at the end of the section after reaching the last question of the section. So I knew that I have to come back in the second circle, and if I have to search from all the questions that I have left behind, then it will be completely wastage of time. So I used to use the mark for review option over here very much, and very frequently I used to use it whenever I found any question which is quite similar to what I have done previously, or which I am completely familiar with, but at that moment I am not able to come to any answers, or I have solved that question for 2 to 3 minutes, and I know that if I invest more 2 to 3 minutes to that question, I will be able to arrive at the answers. So in those kind of questions, I used to use this mark for review option, and then I used to go ahead with that section, and then I used to come back to that question and I used to solve it. So this was my approach, and I think everybody's approach is pretty same. But another approach also exists, as much I know from my peer group, that is like they organize the thought in such a way that they categorize which are their comfortable areas. They used to categorize like arithmetic is the strong point, or geometry is the strong point, or algebra is the strong point. So they used to find those questions out from all the questions, and they used to solve those particularly. And then they used to give a ranking on the basis of the preference. They used to make a preference order of which chapters are they comfortable at. Let it be arithmetic, then algebra, then geometry, then permutation combination, like this. And they used to approach the set in that particular manner, in that particular preference order. So that can be another approach, but as I have said, that it's completely a personalized choice. If you find that you are comfortable doing miscellaneous kind of questions, a complete bunch of the questions which are available which are given in the quantitative aptitude section, then go for it. Solve as many questions as possible in first circle, and then return back to the second circle, and that may work for you. Or the second approach that I mentioned, that categorize your comfort zone, and make a preference order in which you will be approaching the questions in the exam scenario. So that may also occur, that may also be good for you. So it's completely a personalized choice again. And in this section, I don't find any problem with any of the two approaches. Just that in second approach, you have to waste a few minutes time searching for the questions that's there in your preference order. So that time you may save in the first approach. So that's all. So this brings us towards the end of today's discussion. But in between, I forgot to mention one important thing, that is about the sectional test and when I used to give the sectional test. So I used to give the sectional test in the initial days of my preparation, because I thought that it's better to go with sectional than going for a full mock test, and make ourselves comfortable with each section, and then approach the full mock test So in initial days of preparation, while I was making my basic strong for all the 3 sections, I used to also give few sectional tests at that time. Apart from that, when I saw that my mock score dipped or fall down, so in some particular section, so I used to go for a sectional test for next 2 to 3 days of that particular section. So my point of view is that go for the sectional test for the section you feel uncomfortable or you feel that your marks are falling down, because that can help you to adjust with that section in a better manner. And as you approach the sectional test with a completely comfortable mindset, as because you don't have to think about other sections and you don't have that time rush that you feel in actual full mock test. So it helps you to strategize better for that section, and I think that worked good for me. In later on, I found that my BRC sections were dropping, so I focused on giving more and more BRC mock. In few of the times I saw my LRDI sections also dropping, so at that time I used to focus on giving as many sectional tests for the LRDI section. So that goes for every section. So if you find yourself uncomfortable with any section, so go for the sectional test for next 2 to 3 days than going for full mock. So that is my point of view. And as you all might have seen my repository of mock giving, so that was not completely up graph, it was full of down graph, sudden dip in score. So I will like to say it's just a bit of motivation for you all that this exam is not, this exam is not something that you think that it will be quite easy to crack or it will be very comfortable journey all across the time. It is not going to be like that. There will be ups, there will be down, there will be sudden downs. Like you sometimes you feel comfortable that you are doing well with the marks, and suddenly you see that your marks fell to a great extent. Like this sudden dips create a kind of anxiety in yourself, a self-doubt gets created, so it's pretty normal, so no need to worry about that. Your journey is not going to be a complete positive one. There will be sweet and sour moments along it. So in this time my parents played a huge role. They helped me a lot, keeping my patience and keeping my motivation up. So this is just my advice that if you find yourself in any kind of demotivated situation, that you feel that you are not going to do well in this exam, or you find yourself to be in a terrible situation that your mock scores are not improving, or you saw a sudden dip, or you started self-doubting, so talk to your near and dear ones, talk to the people, talk to your mentors, talk to your peer groups. They will surely understand your condition and they will help you to keep you motivated. So it is also a game of patience. So you have to keep your patience on, or else it will become really difficult. You have to take this journey to the end. That is my point. It is kind of a race and you have to see the finish line at any cost. You may win, you may lose. This is just a race. So don't think about that. Just give your best, keep working hard. So that is important. And one thing above all, that is hard work pays off. So remember that thing. If you are giving hard work, then it will surely give you the fruits in some or other way. The way may be different, but it will surely give you the fruits. So with this motivation speak, I will like to end today's discussion. Thank you for watching my video and stay tuned with me. In next few videos I will come with my personal interview experiences and and how I prepared for my personal interview. So yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much. Have a nice day and stay safe.